Yes. Okay. All right, Seth.
We gotta schedule it.
Okay. I'm sorry for Seth. He gets.
Keep you guys on track.
Yes. Thank goodness.
Hi. Could
Hi.
you say your names and why we're here? What are we going to talk about?
My name is Scott Kreamer. No, you say your name.
Not Mark.
Not Mark.
I am Aaron Hammersley.
We're the showrunners of Jurassic World Chaos Theory.
Well, you couldn't have had a better intro. We just heard so many nice things about you.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear. We paid them to say that.
Literally.
Okay.
Okay.
Congratulations, obviously, on season 2 and being at San Diego Comic-Con this year. We do have the panel later on. We did get a little bit of information for the prep of it, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But I really do want to piggyback on what she said about folks giving you your flowers, about the environment you create. Can you talk about the importance of creating a safe space with your cast to really enable them to tell stories and reflect their characters to their personal lives?
Well, that's wonderful to hear. I mean, we've really came, coming out of the pandemic, and this isn't just the cast, like our crew as well. Aaron and I really came in and we let the folks that we work for know this was going to be a crew and cast first. Like, we're obviously going to make the best show we can make, but the folks who work on the show are more important than what we're making. And, that was just something we set out to do. And I'm glad to hear that we've been at least a little successful. It sounds that way. Yeah.
Thank you.
What has been kind of the game plan for, because we talked like way back in season 1 and 2, and now, I mean, we're done with Cretaceous, now we're Chaos Theory. How far along are you planning, and how much do you give thanks to kind of Universal and Netflix and giving you kind of the confidence to keep building this world that so many of us are now very, very invested in?
Well, that's great. I mean, they're with us every step of the way. It's not like we're making this in a vacuum. So if there's a design or a script or an animatic, anything, the folks at Universal, folks at Netflix, Colin Trevorrow, everyone's, I think they trust us. They don't get in the way much. But they're definitely with us the whole way and seeing what we've got planned.
Yeah, every step of the way, they were very thorough with us. They were very on top of. I want to be nice.
Yes, no, they had thoughts.
They had a lot of thoughts and notes.
Yes.
They had many of those. But I genuinely, everybody was really excited for the project, and they all just wanted to make this like the best thing possible. And they were excited for the vision that we had offered, and particularly Scott.
Don't do that.
All right, fine. But they were really excited for the show, and we felt that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to me that you continue with the same characters, but different location and a different tone, really. So tell us about the decision to do that and how you made that transition.
Yeah, that was always going to be the trickiest thing, and I think it's why, if we're being honest, folks were a little nervous once they realized what we had going, because that was sort of the jumping off point. It's like, we had the thought of, let's do a conspiracy thriller, and the kids are older, and let's lean into the vibe. And there were more than one time where Aaron and I are going like, who's this show for? Because it is older, but it's like kids today that's what kids are watching. And I don't want to say we were making something that we thought was cool. And luckily people seem to like it. But we definitely, establishing that mood and tone was like right at the top of the board of stuff we wanted to establish when we started.
It's not Camp Cretaceous Part 2.
No, and I think some folks were expecting that, and it was like, we told that story, and I love how we told that story. And if we were going to revisit these characters that we loved, we wanted to tell a new story.
literally my oh, were you going to say something?
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, I was just going to say it's rare that in animation you get the opportunity to pace things the way that we did, but I think that also helped establish the tone that we were going for, and we had talked about that right from the very beginning about this looking and feeling like everything has aged up along with our characters, and I feel really good about what we were able to accomplish doing that.
Yeah, I was definitely going to ask about the toning, and it's interesting because we're all adults here, and we see so much in this show that we can relate to and enjoy. And I don't think it was initially apparent to me that it was going to be that. You know, the younger generation, our kids and whatnot, they see it, they is instantly invested into it, and they get things out of it that maybe we don't. How do you test that? How do you, for us and through our eyes, through adult eyes, and even as showrunners, what you're looking for, the little things, and understanding like how that reflects the adults, but also how does it impact the kids? Like how do you sort of test that?
Yeah, well, there's no real immediate feedback other than we both have kids that we will show some stuff to.
Yeah, my kids will tell me.
Yes,
definitely,
exactly.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
What they
Or
like
notes.
and don't
Yes,
like.
exactly.
Exactly. They might as well work for Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah, truly.
But like we did want to age it up, and we definitely were referencing like 70s conspiracy thrillers, and then so we wanted to do that on the story side, and then our visual team, art director J.P. Belmay and Eric Hawkins, our lighting and comp soup. So many people, the artists, as far as establishing the cinematography, we just wanted a whole new visual language, and we were very specific about that as we were making our way through this thing. And then you hope you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like if you're setting out to make a 4-quadrant multi-platform synergy I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to make a cool story that we're into, and with characters that feel real and feel grounded and feel flawed, and then you hope people like it, and so hopefully people will continue to like it.
He was in the dark a lot. I knew what I was doing.
Is luck an appropriate word here?
I don't know if it's luck, but I feel like when we started the show, I think people were more nervous about the more adult tone, and then by the time it came out, it seemed like that's what people were more looking for. So
It's
look,
really.
you could call it luck, but we were really specific. We were trying to do a specific thing, and
I think we were making a show that we wanted to see.
yes,
Right.
yes.
And I mean, I just think as adults, when we talk about kids, we say, well, who is this for? And you're like, oh, it's a kid's show, it's animated. The kids watch it, they love it 1,000 times. We watch it, we're dissecting again what we see and what we feel from it. We're like, well, who is this show for,
Yeah.
Now both the profiles, the kid and our profiles both got Jurassic.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, that's what you hope for. And, I watch stuff with my kids. And when they were young, there's some shows you don't want to really watch with the kids.
Right.
And so I've heard it from a lot of parents. It's like, thanks for making something that we enjoy too. So, yeah.
I think it was a very brave and interesting choice to confront issues of trauma so directly, and I think that's something that speaks to a lot of teenagers that don't see that reflected very often. So can you talk about that decision and how you handle it?
Yeah, well, we started especially that story with Yaz back in Camp Cretaceous because, we're trying to, even though it's a show where dinosaurs are alive, we try to ground their characters in reality, and a lot of stuff doesn't talk about mental health. And then we're trying to tell a realistic story as far as where these kids would be in 6 years. And there's something about this pandemic, this lockdown had a big effect on kids, and I think there's some parallels there, and that we definitely want to give voice to, and that look, we're all struggling, and
Did you seek any expertise on that, or how to talk about it?
yeah, we have consultants on all sorts of issues that we deal with, and all the writers and the board artists. We have a very open collaboration between everyone, and everyone brings their own personal baggage wrong, or their personal experience, and we're all people. We've all dealt with that. And so trying to tell a well-rounded story with a well-rounded, relatable character, and all of the kids, they were 12, 13, 14, and they were running for their lives every day. That's going to make an impression. And so we just wanted to give voice to that.
And let's be real, Alan Grant also has PTSD. He just won't admit it.
Yeah, he's just too stubborn. Yes. And he is.
And working on the series with so many seasons, your characters have gone through so much, but obviously some of the voice actors and growing with the characters. What kind of relationship do you have with them now in this series, maybe in letting them have a little bit more voiceover on for owning their characters a little bit more?
I'll be honest with you, there's always been an open dialogue from the beginning. The biggest difference is like Paul was 12,
Right.
Paul was 12 when we started, and by the time we got to the end of Camp Cretaceous, his voice was changing, and it was always like, oh, Paul, we need to go up in that higher register, buddy.
Yeah.
And then when we were doing this, it's like, well, can Paul do 18? It's like, trust me, we're good. Like, Paul could do 35 right now. But even just like as we were crafting the Sammy and Yaz storyline back in Camp Cretaceous, there was a lot of back and forth with the actors. So, some Kosser's been in our writer's room. There's always been and our voice director, Serena Irwin, we set out to make a safe space for everyone, but a real collaborative one, and it feels like from day one we're all rowing in the same direction. And that includes our amazing cast.
I think the thing that was exciting about a lot of that was that, like, as they were reading the scripts, they really resonated with so much of what was written. So I think, like, they were already pretty synced up and, like, in tune with the story that we were telling. So it was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks so much.
Thanks very, very much.
Absolutely. It's nice
Been a
talking to you.
pleasure. Absolutely.
Absolutely.